Module 1.3 is designed to enable the students to actually measure and evaluate their existing classroom before they can go on to start designing their own ideas and linking them through to the various modules. So module 1.3 is a 60-minute lecture including 30-minute group activity. But it might very well be that the timescales might go longer for the second part of the activity itself. So the index sheet outlines the brief, the outcomes, the what, who and where, why, group activity overview, so the aims and objectives behind this module links through by first of all looking at materials and resources. Then module 3 will go into digital modelling. Module 4 is looking at the physical modelling. Then 5 is engaging with form and function to actually analysis and design the final outcomes. So let's just stay with module 1.1, observe, measure, record. The principle behind this is is for the students to collaborate, observe and measure the existing classroom environment. By using the sketchbook, they can produce hand drawings and illustrations and add their survey notes. And this can then lead on to the second module, which is 2.1, where we talk about the techniques of actually how to draw and to communicate in 2 and 3D. The design brief for the Eco Classroom is to look at volumetric methodologies and processes. So by creating a modular off-site learning environment for 25 to 30 people, for all ages and physical abilities, the design solutions can either be single or multi-story. They need to consider the use of sustainable processes for how the building is going to be heated, cooled and ventilated. But we need to work within strict parameters by the cab being any wider than 3.6, 4 meters high, and need to be transported onto a vehicle that's no longer 15 meters long. So the design brief will consider for materials to be of sustainable resource materials, which is something which they need to consider part of their research within this element of the module. Then that will lead us on to modules 3, where we will then take our designs into a bit more into program, then to modelling it, and then to analysis. So let's just look at the construction process of what happens regarding offsite. So we have a series of modules which are made off-site in the factory. They're going to be delivered to site, and on site there's going to be a crane. So all the groundworks and services are all predetermined prior to this operation happening. So we can add the modules, we can offlift them, we can load them into position. So eventually that the development of modules can actually create the form behind the function. Finally, by adding the landscaping, the roof and the railings and any external staircase and access methods, all this can be designed within the scheme itself, and including looking at the environment and the landscape around the building itself. And the final stage is occupation. So you can see from this slide that the various stage processes of how everything progresses from stage 1 right the way through to stage 9. So creative thinking. I've come up with a little tiny game here which has 3 basic rules. The first rule is do what, and the what is create a school. Don't what is don't use organic shapes. Rule 2 is who's it for? High energy kids. Don't how. Let's use only recycled materials. And the final rule, Rule 3, is the why, is to improve people's lives. And the why not, why not make it sustainable? So our group activities. So group activity 1 is to enable the students to work together, to share resources, to liaise with each other, to develop their idea and understanding of the existing environment. So by observing the existing place, where the doors are, where the windows are, and by working in groups, we can then put together our resources and develop our ideas. So by taking a photograph of the existing building, we can then start to evaluate the size of the building, the materials of the building, any access points, what the ceilings are made out of, the kind of lighting, and more importantly its orientation. Where is it in relationship to the remainder of the buildings that surround the classroom? So by developing a sketch, it's a very simple sketch, we can form a little key outlining the various 5 elements. We can then add the desks, measure out the place, add our dimensions. Don't forget to record the window heights and the ceiling heights. So once we've analysed the place, let's have a think about, well, what inspiring designs are out there. So by looking around, by either using Pinterest, I'll put the link onto here, of some seating area that were used in children's school. This is just a starter. So by creating a couple of mood boards, as we call them, we can then create inspiring ideas that will influence our designs. Recent research has actually looked at the issues that we have regarding pollution around the schools. And I've added an extract from the Times about moss walls. The photograph example on here is a moss wall that's been built around various European cities, and this is one is used in Oslo. So let's just review. Okay, group activity 1: measure your classroom. Include location of doors, windows. Indicate the location of desks and cupboards. Record and write the dimensions of the space, and remember to include 4 heights of windows and ceiling heights. So in part 2, by evaluating the room, we can write down what we like and what we don't like. And again, photographs of the space will actually help to actually remind us. And finally, let's look at good examples of design. So the idea you may wish to consider cutting and pasting ideas from magazines that you can put within your workbook, in your sketchbook.